Hey guys, welcome to another Matt Talks episode, and this time, if you haven't already recognized the gameplay around here, this is Dark Souls 3, and I think it's instead of an actual like Matt shows off Dark Souls 3. I mean, this game really doesn't really need any introduction for those already familiar with it, so I'm not really gonna do so much a review, but it will definitely be some sort of just comment on my own perspectives while I just played through some parts I've already done. So, for those wondering, I've cleared the game once, and that is I've completed the game for the first, and admittedly my first time. So I'm quite proud of my efforts thus far, and I think certainly I do like to give myself a pat on the back for that at least. So let's see what I was just thinking about. So what I want to do is sort of just achieve by talking about this is just that I think first you should probably know my background and in terms of Dark Souls games, and I just have to say that this is actually pretty much the first Dark Souls game that I've actually really well and truly played and actually completed. I've actually played a bit of Dark Souls 1, but like at the time I was just not particularly interested or invested in the game, so to speak. And at first the environment of Dark Souls 1 just was a little scary, so to speak, and so I just never really like got into it as much as I did into Dark Souls 3. Then when From Software obviously announced Dark Souls 3, I was actually obviously very interested, and I was just like, well, you know, if this would actually be a good time to get into the game like everyone else. So nevertheless, I bought Dark Souls 3 on not the day it came out, maybe just a bit later. I actually don't quite remember, but I do remember I bought it fairly on, and nope, there you go. Yeah, I do remember buying it fairly like, you know, it's like a few days after it was released. So it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's buy it, let's give it a go, let's see what happens, and so here we are. So, I do apologize if some people are, you know, maybe feeling a bit sensitive about spoilers and such, but I feel like people interested in watching this video would have played the game already, and for those, well, the least I could do is like try not to have too many spoilers, and but I feel that will only really happen if you were observant enough. So, without further ado, you know, I just feel like you should probably at least have something to watch while you're listening to me join and ramble on about whatever is going on and so forth. So let's just head to the bonfire, or just head to the next area. And yeah, I just kind of want to just randomly walk around a bunch of areas and just, you know, have fun just doing random things. Of course, there will be spoilers in, like, say, the areas of like when I travel. There's obviously a few places that but I'm rambling. So what do I think about Dark Souls 3? I really enjoyed the game. I really enjoy what it the challenge it gave, and it's not just even the challenge itself, it's just how everything is set up so that like once you're there, it feels like you've achieved something. And I think that is something that's very difficult to get within games these days, because it's a design problem. It's a design problem that I feel like some designers just don't fully get as well, because it's like, how do I say, it's difficult enough such that like once you've achieved something, it feels like you really put in the effort. Like, it feels like it's actually worth it. It feels like you really have made some progress, some effort. And the way this game is designed is that you can, or at least if you're aware enough, you can actually follow these kind of things and actually realize, hey, I did a bit better this time on this particular boss, or hey, I did a bit better on this, you know, particular difficult guy that's been giving me trouble for the last few runs. And I think that's definitely one of the aspects of the game that really shines out, because it's something that a lot of things just. It's something that a lot of people like can sometimes struggle with. It's like they can do things and they can like not realize how much effort they've made, how far they've gone since then. And of course, some of those more educated may be familiar with imposter syndrome, and that's definitely one thing that affects me a lot as well, because it's like sometimes I can look at myself, or there are times where I can just sit and think and ask myself, what have I achieved, and other times I may feel worthless because like I just see my current level of ability and I just think, how am I going to do better than this? And things like that. So in a game like Dark Souls where like some of these things are much more quantifiable, or at least much more observable. Where some of these things are much more observable, this is where the game shines. In that is much more observable. There's more parameters that you can sort of just easily see on the screen. You can see the boss's HP. You can see the boss's HP when you die, and the boss finally kills you. But the amount of boss HP is an indicator of like your progress, and as well as even just journeying through these areas. And it's like if you're in a new area, then obviously that probably means that means that somehow you're in a new area, which means you're able to conquer the previous areas and so on and such. Is there supposed to be a dragon up there? Okay, that's interesting. Well, moving on. I will kill you first. Thank you very much. Yep. Alright, so that's one of the things I came to love about Dark Souls 3, because it's just knowing that, just being able to easily see that you're improving gives you a good sense of satisfaction, and that sense of satisfaction is basically increased, I don't know, so many tenfold when you realize you were able to finally beat a boss. So that's definitely one of the things I like about Dark Souls 3. I suppose one of the next things is that one of the other things worth touching on is just the immersion. I think the environment, the monsters, the zombies, and even the creatures they add, and they've done so much in terms of ambience, sound design, environment design, and everything else that it's like to give a bit more context. Basically, I have well, for some perspective, like for those who don't know me, I'm 26 years old at the time we're recording this, and basically it just there are times where it just feels like I've seen it all, and there are times where it feels like I can't really get into a game because it's like maybe I've seen everything already, and I what am I trying to say? It feels like I've seen everything already, so it feels like there's just not enough to keep me fully immersed, not enough to keep me like glued to the game, or it's a game that I could play while only like paying not 100% attention to it. And this has not happened with Dark Souls 3. With Dark Souls 3, I feel like I need to keep my attention in the game at all times. And for very few games to be able to do that, in my opinion, means that, at least for me, Dark Souls 3 is like worthy. To me, it means Dark Souls 3 is a game I can definitely commend on being able to design it in such a way that it keeps me occupied. And I think that's definitely one of the things I would really like to touch on, because it's something that at least for me, a middle-aged 26-year-old, just it's like I'm figuring out things through life, and that's great and all, and part of the problem is just like there comes moments where it just feels like you've seen it all, and it's just like, well, what's new? You probably think you'd be out like, okay, well, let's just try and see if there's anything else interesting. So that's definitely a bit of a can be a bit of a gripe, so to speak, when it comes to growing up. And that's why like movie critics can be some very critical people, because they have seen it all, so to speak. So when they're critiquing movies, sometimes it's like same formula. You guys aren't doing anything new. You guys aren't being innovative, and so on and so such. So definitely, this is where like I can understand some people are just they just feel like it's same shit, different day. But I digress. Now story. Obviously, some I suppose hardcore people may think that I've committed some kind of heresy by not having fully played through Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 before, like, actually playing this, because there are some story elements that, you know, it could be... Oh, didn't die already? Okay. There are definitely some story elements that could say, you know, carry over, or some characters that do carry over as well. So, but nevertheless, the story in Dark Souls 3, look, as far as I'm aware, it's basically carried on the same formula as in previously, in that it doesn't spoon-feed you the story. It shows you bits of it, and you have to figure out parts of it through the lore, the story, even just the items that drop. And, look, there you... Oh, no, I didn't even hit you. That's a... No, screw you. Please die. Oh. Even the impact of this sword actually makes it fly away. That's amusing. So, the story, you kind of have to piece together. You can only, like, guess what happened, and it's like only then, until you played it through fully, then, you know, you'll be able to piece most aspects of the story together. And I think that's definitely something that, I'm trying to figure out whether it was an interesting idea or whether it's something that could have been worked on. But I do know that that part of it, in addition to the environments and sort of just the ambience and everything in general, it just gave me a sense of wonder. It's like, oh, there's this item. It's like, what's this guy's name? What is this guy's history? And I think that's sort of like what added to the game's enjoyment and appeal for me. So it's just sort of that sense of wonder. It just really appealed to my childlike sense of wonder, just seeing all this and thinking, wow, what's going on? What's gonna happen next? And that sort of thing. And for me as a 26-year-old to admit that, it means this game has definitely done something special, or that maybe I'm too easily convinced. But I'm pretty sure some people will disagree with me, and maybe others may disagree, but you know, to each their own. So, let's go back to the story. Okay, so the general overarching story of this game, yeah, I mean, I kind of got the general idea. I mean, obviously I won't like try to say the story, you know, just to minimize spoilers, so to speak. Yeah, the general story, at least when you're progressing through the game, is definitely understandable. So I would not be too worried about having to piece together everything. So yeah, it's really not that bad in that regard. So, alright. No. There we go. Alright. There's a big mace you have. I would like to have one of those. So the story, pretty understandable. You know, you gotta do stuff. You gotta kill a bunch of bosses. But of course, I'm not gonna say why. Yeah, the story definitely the way they do it is definitely a good way. I wish there was a better way I could say it, but there's not much I can say without really like spoiling a whole lot of it. And but I mean, oh jeez, where did you come from? Alright. Yeah, story, pretty cool. Alright, I think next might be monsters and boss design. I'm sort of just winging this. I don't actually have a notepad or anything of the sort. That just like to think about like what I want to say or say in order, basically. But monster design, I really like the monster design. It feels like you know, past the different type of humanoids, there's like enough unique, enough terrifying monsters to make this game feel like a thriller, so to speak. And thrillers is, I always have this weird thing with thrillers. It's like, you know, you can, if you do a thriller really well, it really is able to be able, oh jeez, I'm mincing my words. Basically, the amount of suspense it holds on you, and then the moments where it releases from you, that stuff has got to be balanced, and I feel this game does it really well. And it's like, say for example, in this area, there's a guy that's about to drop down, and just that sense of knowing something might happen is like, how do I want to say it? It's like, shush. So it's like, it's how do I want to say it? It's like significant enough that you want to be careful before running through every different corner, but some at times maybe not as significant. At times where it, you know, because you maybe you're able to just to power through all. It's like right now because I've completed the game and I'm just, you know, I can kill these guys in one hit. It's like I don't have to be scared, but it's like obviously when you're going through these areas the first time, you're scared because you're in a new area. You don't know what's gonna come. You don't know what monsters might be out there, or what other terrible human beings, or whether even that next area might actually have a boss or not. So it's definitely one of those things that is at least very true to the Dark Souls formula, and can definitely not be faulted too much. So let's kill this guy wielding a large hammer, which is a great wooden hammer, so to speak. But again, I've sort of digressed a little. But while I'm talking about monster design, I think it just sort of feels like, yeah, there's enough interesting monsters, enough interesting creatures out there. Even though I feel like maybe there's a few too many that are humanoids. But I suppose that's really a matter of opinion, because I mean we could see corpse, we could see dogs. There's sort of like demon-like creatures as well, and if I go down this sewer, I'm going to be dealing with a bunch of rats, which I will show you. There they are. And we'll just... It's a pity this sword doesn't do a swipe kind of animation. It would be really nice. But, I mean, who's to complain? And then we've got a giant rat coming up. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Alright, so... Unfortunately, I'm going to... there it is. And we'll kill that small one. Alright, there we go. And let's just go back to... But yeah, monsters, enough variety, maybe a few too many humanoid. I seem to recall that Dark Souls 2 had a problem of having too many humanoid monsters and bosses, so it was nice enough to like see some amount of variety. Although I will admit, like, so far in at least this video, there's been a few too many humanoid monsters, so, but I suppose that's really just privy to opinion. So alright, can I kill you before you kill me? Yes, I can. Oh, alright. Alright, let's not lose too much blood today. Whew. Alright, so let's now bosses. I think the bosses are interesting. Some of the bosses, as usual, had interesting mechanics that that makes you think, that basically forces you to sit down and think, okay, wait, what's this guy's weakness and how should I try to kill him, and so on and so forth. So that's definitely it's a bit hard for me to like really comment, because like for example, I'm not familiar with previous Dark Souls bosses, so I can't really comment on like whether they were better or previous. But certainly the mechanics, like I'm just trying to think, like in terms of like all the different bosses, the mechanics, I think the mechanics, and this is in line with pretty much the common opinion which I've seen read elsewhere, is that it's like basically in the first half of the game the bosses are just actually no, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, there were definitely a couple of interesting bosses, a couple of generic ones as well, and definitely there were a few more interesting characters that definitely made the fight, the fight's basically interesting to play around with and to... Ooh, there's a couple of frame lag right there. Unfortunately, my computer's not powerful enough to really just handle me talking and me recording Dark Souls 3 gameplay at the same time, but that's my problem, not yours. And I'm pretty sure most of you are just not really watching the screen so much as you are listening to me talk about Dark Souls 3. So, with that said, definitely some interesting bosses. The final boss definitely a step up in difficulty, and that was definitely sort of just like, once I beat it, it was worthwhile. I will admit though, maybe there was some points where I sort of just figured out the bosses a little too easily, but there were some bosses where I easily killed on the first go. So yeah, I don't know if that's me or if that's a flaw in the game design, and actually your experience will vary depending on how capable you are as a player and how much you know about Dark Souls already. So I will kill you first, before you rained this poison mist upon me. And thankfully I can one hit KO you. So so with that, yeah, I think the bosses are satisfying. I feel some of them were a little too easy, but part of it is probably because I was intelligent enough to figure out the sequence fairly easily. So there were definitely a few that were basically bash your head against the wall bosses until... Actually, no, I mean, it's like bosses that were frustrating enough to make you feel like you have to bash your head against the wall. That's basically what I meant to say there. Alright. You will not spawn into a birdie, my friend. So, yeah, so I think there was definitely enough, variety in terms of design with that aspect. So, shriving stone. That will be useful. Weapons, equipment... Look, with its own unique design for each of the bosses, it's got its own unique design for each of the weapons as well. I think there's really not much to be said. There is I have heard there are some complaints with regards to some of the weapons, but I don't really know too much about I don't know too much, but definitely there are some interesting, some unique weapons that just makes you think, oh, you know, it's gonna be pretty cool to give them a try. And it's like, so it's like right now, and I will admit this is a spoiler. The weapon I'm wielding at the moment is a machete that you can get after you down a certain boss, and it's definitely quite fun to just wham. Apart from that, I think some people have commented there is a bit of an issue with the scaling on the weapon. The scaling is basically like whether a weapon will basically increase with your strength or with your dexterity or with other stats and such. Mad Dog Spirit? Nah, screw you. Alright, so just trying to think. Yeah, some people have pointed out that might be a problem, and others may not think so much, but very honestly, I wouldn't know. Oh, this is maybe. I should probably upgrade this axe a bit more. Oh well. That's it. I will heal you, and I will hit you again. I do remember back in Dark Souls 1 when my brother was just like showing me the reps of the game. He did mention that one of the things they could have done before was to actually like really explain the strength and dex scaling on weapons, and there was definitely not all that much explanation this time around either. But I think, to be fair, those people who were interested in Dark Souls 3 were basically those who knew the game already, and not those who were looking to get into it the first time. So I don't know, kind of a mixed bag. I mean, it's not like I don't know. I mean, it's like if someone asked me to recommend this game to a new player, then I would probably say, well, yeah, it's kind of satisfying, but there's a few what ifs I would like to keep in mind. And okay, you asshole. There you go. Okay. There are definitely a few what ifs or a few things that I would like to, you know, be like a mentor, you know, just keep them in check and just like not to make sure that they are 100% completely lost, but at the same time it's not like if they don't get this guidance then they are screwed sort of thing. So I suppose your mileage will vary, but for those you know who just like an RPG that just really, you know, takes you in, and alright, you are getting annoying. Thank you. Oh, another guy behind me. Alright, you should die as well. So, yeah, if I was asked if I could recommend this game to a new player, I'd probably say yes. I mean, for me, like everyone else, in the end, you know, you come out with it feeling very, satisfied. Now, there was a guy behind me. Alright, there you go. And, yeah, just the amount of satisfaction you get from just, like, really completing each section, each boss, and plowing through a bunch of monsters it's satisfying. There's no better word I can use for it. So I will just rest at the bonfire, maybe move myself to another area and switch to another weapon. They joined the team. I'm not a fan of that place. I'm not a fan of that place either. This? Yeah, alright. Okay, I'm just trying to think what else to say. There's definitely a lot of secrets, a lot of things that just sort of hidden behind certain questions, certain conditions. So like for the new player, it's like, you know, they're going through all this and they may not be particularly aware of what's going on. I think for this last section, I'll just switch back to my normal, ooh, maybe I should use this. Yeah, sure, why not? It's a great sword. It's a big-ass great sword. It's like maybe I'm compensating for something. Okay, so, jokes aside, yeah, new players, yeah, I mean, if you want to give it a go, I'm not going to stop you, and, but if you need help, I'm not going to hesitate to give you some assistance either. In terms of sort of just like looking up spoilers, or just looking things up for a little bit of additional help, I will admit that I'm a bit guilty of doing that, and especially when like I started this game, I knew what to expect for the first couple of hours or so, because I was watching a couple of let's plays of it, and so it was like, so part of it was like, oh, I recognize this area, and but yeah, at times it matters, other times it didn't, and I suppose this is where some people can differ on their opinions about spoilers. So look, I'm not gonna be like super critical on like whatever things are. So all I'm just gonna say is that, you know, if you think that I'm spoiling things, then I mean, you're not obligated to watch this. All right. Thankfully, I can deal with you before you can deal with me. All right. I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I don't think it matters. All right. Cool, that's very satisfying. Now I've lost my train of thought, goddammit. Yeah, I mean, all in all, Dark Souls 3, really good game, really satisfying. Definitely give it a go if you are able to deal with, basically the suspense of... Oh, there you go. Man, great swords are great. If you'll pardon the pun. There we go. Okay. We'll pick that up. Oh, nice shield. Okay, I already have one of those. Yeah, lots of variety, and then if you're like me and you be playing through it the first time, there will be a lot of things you miss, and as most people know, if you don't already, there's like a new game plus, in which you can play through everything again, you know, and just sort of do things a bit different. Do things a bit differently, you know, maybe discover some new quests, maybe try a different build, or, you know, basically, or just have fun with the game any way you want. I'm not sure whether I will be doing a new game plus, because I'm kind of the guy that's just like, well, I've seen the story, why would I, you know, there's no point for me to, do things again, because I've already seen it all once, and I've got a good memory, that sort of thing, but... You know, my mileage will vary, and I guess the other thing that's sort of like pressing on the mind is that I've still got so many games I would love to play, so many stories, so many environments, so many experiences that I still want to get through. But I can definitely say that Dark Souls 3 has been a very, very satisfying experience. So with that, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll just do a little wave, and yeah, hopefully, if you haven't played Dark Souls 3, give it a go, and I feel you won't be able to regret it, and, but do not be afraid to, look up, you know, the occasional, like a little bit of help, maybe just something that tells you where to go next, and that, so on and so such. So, with that, thank you for watching and listening. If you enjoyed this content, I'm hoping to just have more videos on that I release on Sunday, where I just either talk about something or I show off a game I've been enjoying. So, fortunately, I still haven't got quite a schedule or just some kind of plan in mind. It's still kind of a do as I go kind of thing, but yeah, I really enjoy just sitting down, just talking about a particular game, and so yeah, so yeah, thank you for watching. there's a like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this, and I will see you on the next video.